Hi, George here, and today we're going to be doing some photo retouch work here in Affinity Photo. This is Affinity Photo 2. And before we get into this project, if you want to learn everything about how to use Affinity Photo, the best way to do that is with my complete training course. I'll put a link for that at the top of the description. This girl here has a few blemishes on her face, and those are pretty easy to fix. And for this, we'll be using just one photo retouch tool, and that's over here. Here's our healing brush tool section. I'll use the Blemish Removal Tool, which is perfect for these kinds of little spot blemishes in here. This is oftentimes my favorite tool for doing photo retouch. I'll try this first, and then once I've done all of this, I'll go back and see if I have to do anything else. But we'll stick here with this one tool for this particular project. You can see here's the size of the brush, and here's a good blemish right down there. Now, I like having my brush size about 3 times larger than the typical blemish that I'm fixing on that image. Up here, upper left-hand corner, there's a slider control. You can adjust your brush size right here. I'll put it down here to 20 and see how this looks. 21's pretty close. And that's a lot better. That's just about 3 times larger than the blemish size. So you want to have some space around it to help blend this in. You also can use the left square bracket and the right square bracket to change the size of your brush as you're going. But I think find your largest blemish in here, get a good brush size for that, and you can then keep the brush size at that setting for the rest of your work. Now, this will be changing the pixels on the image, so it's always a great idea to come in here and make a duplicate of your background layer. Just right-click, come down to Duplicate. There's our new background. I'll hide the original. That's just a safety in case I mess things up. I can always go back here and work from the safety again, or make a new copy. And then all you have to do is just find a spot. I'll just zoom in a bit here. Now, when I zoom in like this, I'm using the scroll wheel on my mouse. And that should be set up by default. If it's not, you can adjust that up here under the Edit menu. Come down to Settings and Tools. And in here, you'll see right there, Use Mouse Wheel to Zoom. So if you have a mouse wheel, this is a real nice one to have. There's also a scrubby zoom on here. I'll show you how that's used in just a second. Close. Now the scrubby zoom is if you're on the zoom tool like that, you can then hold the button down and move left and right to zoom in or out. Notice up and down doesn't do anything, but left and right allows you to zoom in and out. So that's the scrubby zoom. I personally just like using the wheel on the mouse. Okay, let's go back to our tool. There we go. And let's zoom in a bit right down on this blemish down here. And all you do is you click on the blemish. Affinity Photo analyzes that spot and the skin around it, and then removes that blemish. Now, be very careful with this tool when you're working up against an edge, like right along in here. You don't want to be going over an edge like that. Let's just see what happens. You can see it kind of does a weird thing. If you do that by accident, use Control-Z to undo. So for edges, we'll be a little bit more specific. Let's just do just a few of these first. Just get some of this stuff out of here. On the nose, because it's a very small area, I'll come down in size. And that way I'm not going over any of those edges. And then just work your way along. Get some of these up in here. Then go a little larger again at this point. Here we go. Let's get that one and that one. And up in there, you see how easy it is to do this. It's actually very fast. The first click you do, maybe just a little bit slower. And that's when Affinity Photo is going in and analyzing everything. Once that's done, then it should get very fast at that point. It'll just be a fast click. And it's all set, as you can see here, real fast. Okay, let's take a look at the ones over here along the edge. For this kind of a problem here where it's close to something, just zoom in even further. About like that. I'll bring my brush size way down using the left square bracket key. And I'll just come in here and just tap these things right along that edge. And you should be able to come in and do a pretty good job, even if you're close to the edge, just working in very carefully like that. Same thing along an edge of a nose in here or along this edge in here. You just want to zoom in far enough so that you can make sure you're staying away from that edge. Now this one up here, I'll go larger. That's the right square bracket key. Let's click on that one. Cleans that up. Great tool, real easy to use as you can see. Just come in and click around. Now what I'll normally do is the largest spots first and then go smaller and smaller. Now one thing I want to be careful with is we have a lot of texture up in here, a lot of skin texture. If you click on the skin texture, it will go a little bit softer. It does tend to blur things out, so just keep that in mind. You don't want to be losing all of your skin texture or the face begins looking plastic. So take the skin texture out where it's a problem. We have kind of a spot showing, but don't do too much. You don't want to lose too much texture and get a plasticky looking face. Like I wouldn't touch my texture in here. I think that actually helps the overall effect. You want it to look like it's still a photograph and not some kind of a strange AI thing. Okay, this is looking pretty good. Right down here, let's grab that one. And then right over in there. And that one as well. All right, let's just use the Control-0 keyboard shortcut. That's fit screen. I'll then zoom in on this about that far. And let's see how we did. Show our background again. Let's hide this one. There's the original. Notice these blemishes in here, and here's the fixed one. And real nice job on retouching the image with just using that one tool. And don't forget, at the top of the description is a link for my complete training course for Affinity Photo, where I demonstrate how to use everything, all the tools, all the panels, all the menus at the top, everything in the program. It's really the best way to learn how to use Affinity Photo. And if you like this video, make sure you hit that thumbs up and give me a like. If you haven't already subscribed, make sure you do that as well. And I'll see you next time.